Good. How are you? You know what we could do? We could start introducing employers. And Christy, since you're right up there on the screen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh boy. All right. All right. Hi guys. I'm Christy Ritter. I'm with Authority Business Solutions. I have been there for about 2 years, and I've been with the recruiting team as their administrative executive assistant for the last year. So I will sit through and watch all of your guys' presentations and get all the info back over to your recruiters, and hopefully we'll be able to get some things rolling for you guys and see how things are going, because we are on a ridiculously hiring rate right now. We are actually twice as much as we were last year. It's been crazy. So yeah, so we're definitely looking for some good people. So definitely interested seeing your presentations and how things go.
Great. We're glad you're here. Glad you could make it.
Yes, Katie had a personal emergency, so she's like, "You're taking it." I'm like, "Got it." So yeah, sorry for the last minute look.
You're great. We're just glad you're here. Carrie, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm going to keep myself on mute because the munchkins are home and they get crazy. They don't seem to understand the concept of a meeting happening in the same vicinity. But hi, guys. I'm Carrie Eckelkamp. I am a recruiter with Accenture Federal Services. I've met most of you on this call, I think, already. So a few of you I haven't yet. But really excited about the work Savvy's doing and excited to be a part of it. And I'm pumped for you guys to get to share your work you've been working on tonight, and good luck, and no need to be nervous. Just excited to see what you're learning.
Great. Thank you so much. Scheduling was hard because you were in mock interviews. So we were like yeah, it's a thing. Okay, Justin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Justin Hunold. I'm a managing director with, excuse me, Ocelot Consulting. We are about 60 folks right now, and we recently got number 2 on St. Louis's fastest growing businesses. So missed number 1.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, missed that one by a hair. We'll see how next year goes. And we do a lot of cloud stuff, a lot of data and analytics, and application development. So it's very much technology oriented consulting, and just here to check out what's going on with Savvy Coders and with my friend Anthony.
There you go. And I know that we talk with Mike Weaver quite a bit too. So
yep,
we're all connected.
Got in here, yeah.
I'm on the call.
Oh, hi, Mike.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. One of the managing directors at Ocelot Consulting, a local consulting company here in St. Louis.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm in the car, so it's a little awkward right now.
Oh, that's okay. We're glad you're here to listen.
Thanks.
Well, I think people are still coming. It seems like people are kind of coming at the last minute, but we can go ahead and get started because I know our time is precious here. So I want to thank you all for coming to hear the presentations. I feel always like a proud mama at this point because I saw the students when they started and I helped them with their resumes and things like that. And they've been working so hard, especially over the last month, cramming to try and get their projects to the place where they want them to be. And it's always so gratifying for me the first night that I see them, because they're always so great and they exceed all expectations. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Anthony, would you like to go ahead and begin the presentations?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Anthony Tuzzo. I am a combat veteran turned Savvy Coder. I chose Savvy Coders because I found myself in a really bad situation for a good 4+ years. All that culminated in me becoming a temp, working for a temp agency that had assigned me to a company eventually that was selling personal protective equipment. One day I got a call from my wife that told me, "Hey, our daughter's exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19. Please go and get her tested." I told my manager, "Hey, I'm going to go get tested." By the time I made it home to pick up my daughter, I received a call from the temp agency saying, "You are no longer welcome." Upon receiving that phone call, needless to say, I still took care of what I needed to take care of, but I also knew that I needed to gain some form of control. I couldn't just keep bouncing from, job to job that just wasn't bringing me any job satisfaction. And, getting let go for something like that just really drove me nuts. Well, I wound up getting hold of one Mr. Justin, and he helped me out. He got a hold of Stephanie. Stephanie got a hold of Des. Des got a hold of me. And the next thing I knew, I was a savvy coder. I was being introduced to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Node.js. I got to learn wonderful things like Firebase, MongoDB, and Heroku. And with their powers combined, I was able to create a nice little project that I'd like to share with you. But before we can get started, I have to ask you a very simple question. When is the last time you changed your furnace filter? This is a for real question. I'm looking for a for real answer.
I don't know.
I'm going to go with 30 days ago when we turned the heat on for the very first time this year.
Right, me too. Yes.
And that is actually something that very commonly happens. People do not think about replacing such a very simple item that not only does it maintain the air quality in your home, but it helps prolong the life of your furnace. So what I decided to do was, for my capstone project, I'm sharing the whole screen, aren't I? Okay.
You're good.
You see my app?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, the screen just went wonky on me and I couldn't tell what was showing, I'm sorry. So I created this. It is called Let Me Remind You. The purpose of Let Me Remind You is for you to be reminded to do very simple maintenance items that are generally not thought about. And there's a wide gamut, as you can see, with the house tab, automobile tab, and medical tab, which I will go into in some detail here shortly. There are a number of items that you just don't think about because it's out of sight, out of mind. So as you reach this homepage, I would like to first point the attention here to this delightful little light bulb logo, which was designed by one of our savvy cohortians, one Miss Jennifer Bagwell, who is also being represented by Mr. John O'Laughlin here, as they are very closely related. So she designed that for me, and I thank her tremendously for it. On this homepage, as you can see, there is a login. This login is currently a placeholder because my future state is still kind of in flux, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And of course, to make sure that I bring love to the people that brought me here, Savvy Coders is easily linked to. As you go in, once you've signed in and whatnot, you can then choose which one of these tabs you need to get your information from. As you can see here on the house tab, we can see the beautiful furnace filter, which is inside a modal box. The reason I chose a modal box is this was not something we were taught in class. It is something that I chose to learn on my own to help demonstrate that I am very, very desiring. I know that's horrible syntax, but we're going to go with it for now. It is something that I want to learn. I want to know more of JavaScript. I want to learn more of coding. And so I chose this modal box because I felt it was a nice, clean, easy way to display the information that I want displayed. And it just looks cool. And once you click out of it, you can easily access all of the other items that are here within each tab. As you can see, I kept it simple, and we're going to go back to our furnace filter because I do want to remind you all, those that are neglecting to change your furnace filter, this is something you want to do once to every 3 months routinely. Now, once every 3 months depends on how dirty you keep your home. When I say how dirty, I don't mean it as a negative derogatory, you're not vacuuming when you're supposed to. If you're someone like me who has a lot of animals in the house, you tend to want to change that stuff much more frequently. If you are someone who doesn't have a lot of animals, you keep your home super tidy, maybe even don't sit in it a lot, once every 3 months is fine. Water heater. You need to flush that thing out. A lot of people don't realize that. As you let sediment build in, because your city water is actually full of sediment, builds in, it starts to fill up inside your water heater. If you don't flush it out, then you start to ruin your water heater, and then you don't have hot water on a very busy day when, let's say, you wake up 45 minutes late to work, your hair's out to here, and you just can't do anything about it. I have also garbage disposal and caulking. Caulking is something that was all over the airwaves a few years ago, and then no one talked about it anymore. Here, I have something nice and simple to remind you why you should be caulking your home. But I did not stop with just home maintenance. I also have applied automotive maintenance. As you can see here, you have the cabin air filter. This is something that is very frequently not thought about because your cabin air filter usually is hiding inside of your glove box. Out of sight, out of mind. If you have one of those not self-change, like a Jiffy Lube or a Valvoline. They'll kind of tend to remind you, hey, maybe you should do this, and they'll pull it out for you. Or sometimes they just say, hey, you want to change it? It's nice to know why you should change it and how often you should change it. And that is why I have this in here. In addition to other items like, hey, your oil change. When should you change your oil? It depends on your type of car. There's always been that very generic, hey, you need to change it every 3,000 miles. That's not always the case. It really does depend on your vehicle. Tire rotation. People very seldom think about it. And then as you're driving, you'll actually start to see a very uneven wear on your tires. And then, of course, if you have to replace the tire and why. Now, while we were doing this, we were being taught Agile. Agile is a system that I know many of you are very familiar with. And during the Agile process, we would be put into breakaway rooms very similar to what we are in right now. And in the breakaway room, one of the other cohortians that happens to be in this little presentation asked me, he's like, hey, Cody said, why not put some contact lenses in there? I'm always forgetting when to change them out. So a medical tab was added. And here we have a nice little reminder as to when you should change your contact lenses if you are someone who has to wear contact lenses. In addition, physicals. No one likes going to the doctor for no reason, but personal preventative maintenance, just like preventative maintenance around the house, is essential to helping you have a much more longer, enjoyable life. And of course, unless you want to have a nasty grill, you need to go see your dentist. And I have it in here when you should go and see the dentist. Now, all of this stuff, all of these modal boxes, and one of the reasons why I am so happy I chose to go with a modal box is it is so ridiculously easy to add a modal box into this, into my app. As you can see here, I have a modal.js page inside my store. And all I have to do is when I have the information, which I do make sure that the information I have is derived from legitimate sources. I don't just go to the mechanic down the street for the automotive stuff. I've looked up the automotive information online from reputable sites. For the home stuff, I personally used to be a home inspector. And so I know of ASHI and InterNACHI, which are the two home inspector organizations that govern a lot of the rules that go around home inspections. And they tell you all this stuff because these are bits of information that need to be provided to potential home buyers and of course home sellers as they need to make repairs or updates to their home that meet specific code. Speaking of code, as you can see right here, it is quite literally the easiest thing on the planet for me to add an item. And if you can't see it, let me know and I'll happily make it bigger for you. There's a Control Plus, right? This is not something I mess with often. There we go. Easier to see? Excellent. So super easy to add this code. And also all I have to do is go up here to whatever page I want to add it on. Let's say I was thinking about this actually when I was at work today. I got a little bit of water dripped on me from the gutters. Oh, hey, I can add gutters to the mix. How often should you clean your gutters? Simply rewrite this code, but instead of, I would talk, it'll say gutters. And then I'll go right back down here and add something about gutters. Now, I'm not going to add it right here, right now, because I want to make sure that when I put something in there, I'm putting legitimate information from reputable sites that state, hey, you need to clean your gutters, not just because they overflow, but because of other damage that can happen from leaving your gutters full. And then again, once I add it, it'll show up right on here inside a brand new modal box all of its own. And voila, and I could just keep adding and adding and adding, and until it gets too wieldy, and then I will address that in a future state. Additional future state items that I am looking at are advertising. Each one of these tabs is specific to its own thing, right? So in the automobile area, I'm only going to have automotive items. My future state plan is to add a bar down here that will allow an advertiser to display whatever it is that they want advertised. So here, since I'm under automobile, maybe a Pet Boys or a AutoZone, or maybe one of the local mechanics, so I can help promote local businesses, such as a business I know in Fairview Heights that's kind of, worried right now about some of the Illinois stay-in-place orders that might be coming about. This will allow me to allow them to display and get their word out there. House, Same thing. I can have an advertisement here that can be dedicated directly to home related stuff. Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, or maybe if you have one kind of a local, do-it-yourself type business. Under the medical tab, a doctor, an ophthalmologist, a dentist, any one of them can advertise as well. Also, future state, once I start learning other languages, I plan on learning React and I plan on learning some mobile application languages because I would really love for this to be a mobile app. I think that because we have our phones on us all the time, I'm sure everyone else has theirs readily available. I would like to make the logo itself what pops up on the app. You click on the car and boom, automobile will pop up. You click on the medical sign, boom, medical pops up. That is a future state, but that will all happen once I actually learn those languages, which for obvious reasons, I don't have them yet. To get me to keep all of this together, I'm very sorry Stephanie's not in here because she would love this tremendously. We used Trello. And as you can see right now, demo day is in progress development. And so that's what we're doing. This was a very, very handy tool and something that I definitely appreciated because it allowed me to put all of this stuff in planning and research and not let me forget, hey, I do need to make sure that I start making the progress to go into the mobile world. I do need to make sure that, hey, is everything working? And once I've completed it, make sure that it's all in here, which I did. And it was nice and it was neat and I really, really appreciated it. I'm usually the type of person that likes to, write things down, but to have something neat and clean that I can access from anywhere, like I'm at work today and I remember the gutters, boom, I could put it in there if the boss wasn't looking over my shoulder. But that's not something I'll be worrying about in the future. Other items that I ran into are some challenges that I had to overcome. Unfortunately for me, and luckily I haven't coughed yet, but I was afflicted with the coronavirus, which knocked me out for a good 2 full weeks and caused me to miss some very important stuff. But when you're passionate about something, you're going to tackle it, you're going to make it happen. And that is why I'm able to present to you this delightful application called Let Me Remind You. The other challenge that I ran into is when I first came into this course, my eyes were way bigger than my brain. Probably still are if you ask some people. But kind of if you think of that mindset, hey, I'm going to the grocery store, but I'm hungry, and you want to buy everything because you think you can eat it right away. I had that same thought. I was like, I'm going to make this, and it's going to send out push notifications, going to do this and that and the other. And oh my God, was there a rude awakening. But as we are here at week 13, I do feel much more comfortable with a lot of my knowledge. I know that there's still a lot that I have left to learn. And honestly, if you're not learning, then you're not doing it right anyway. So I'm very excited about what my future holds. I'm very excited about the future of this application because I am going to be working on it much, much more as we move on and as I learn more languages and as I'm able to develop more items for this. At this time, do I have any questions?
It was great,
Yes.
Anthony.
I have a
Can I say
question,
again?
Anthony.
Yes, ma'am.
So right as it stands right now, do they just visit the site and that's how they know what they need to do? Does it email them? How do they get notified or reminded?
As of this specific moment, it is purely a informational website. My future state right now will be to have it where they will put in their information and then they will put in data for what they want a reminder for. So because the furnace filter is everyone's favorite thing because we've been practicing for a week and we've heard it ad nauseum at this point, you want to remember when you want to change your furnace filter. It will be put in place with a database through Heroku and MongoDB that you are going to receive an email that'll say, hey, here's a reminder, you need to change your furnace filter. Once I go to a mobile application, I would like to have it where it just sends you a push notification stating, hey, time to change your furnace filter.
Gotcha. Great job.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thanks, Anthony. Great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. Great job, Anthony.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Paige, you're up.
In the White House briefing room.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Paige Hicks, aspiring web developer. I've been working in compounding pharmacy pretty much my entire adult life. Typically when people hear pharmacy, they immediately go to like a retail pharmacy like Walgreens or CVS, thinking that, you know, you count the pills and you put them in a bottle. But in compounding, you're actually like making the meds from scratch, which is what I do. So I formulate each prescription depending on what the strength the patient like specifically needs. And, you know, I just find that really interesting and kind of fun. Unfortunately, you know, due to COVID, I was furloughed from work. And during that 2-month period, I was looking for like a new hobby. So some friends of mine who were actually in IT suggested that I get into coding. And so I went online and I found Code Academy. No, it's not Code Academy, it's Free Code Camp. And I started going through that program. Quickly realized how overwhelming it could be on your own, and started looking for a boot camp just to, you know, have some outside help there. And I came across Savvy Coders, and I came across Savvy Coders, and I talked to Des, and you know, she was like super sweet. Everyone I said was very just like helpful, and I just immediately made me feel like so welcomed, and genuinely like made me feel excited to start my career or my journey here. So from web development seemed interesting to me because where I do compounding pharmacy, I build medication from scratch. Web development allows me to build things. It also allows me to build things just using my own like skills and knowledge in a computer. So from being in the Air Force and working in pharmacy, like all of my jobs have revolved around helping people. Is something that I'm passionate about. So for my capstone project, I have decided to make a website for a really great friend of mine who is also an independent artist. She's a fantastic artist, you know, incredible person. She also lost her job due to COVID, but like a positive turn of events, she was able to spend more time doing, you know, something that she loved. So she was able to focus on that. And so using my new web development skills, I learned with Savvy Coders, I'm able to build an SPA, you know, specifically designed to showcase her talents. And it feels incredible to be able to enable her to follow her dreams, you know, while I'm following mine. So let me get right into this. Before I show you my project, I want to show you my Trello, the Kanban board that I have here that we learned during our agile meetings, methodologies. Right here is what I use. Got my, actually I need to move these over because these are ready. In progress development, you know, any bug fixes that I had. And here's my completed done. Give myself a pat on the back because of all the hard work that I've been doing recently. Yeah, so here's this. And actually, for my decision documentation, my friend actually gave me a little bit of a rough outline. I mean, she gave me like free creative control, but she just kind of was like, hey, this is what I'm sort of looking for. So this is what I had to base off of. And yeah, so there's that. And let me show you my project. Okay. So here is Blue June's art. Self-taught artist excited to show her love with the world. So sorry. Okay. I wanted to, you know, make this exciting enough to like bring people in, but, you know, simple enough to where I could really showcase and highlight other areas here. So you can click on this portfolio button here and it brings you straight into the gallery. And then I kept the background pretty basic. I didn't want to really take away from any of the art here. And I added these CSS stylings in to be able to hover and, you know, do this little like zoom in with it brings up the title of each one too. I also have, I styled this to have responsive web design here. So if you happen to view it on,
Hey, Mike, your mic is still on.
So if you happen to view it on a mobile site here, so basically responsive is just like it changes each of the images to fit the size of the web page, so it can go anywhere from, you know, like a giant TV to like a phone here, and then it has everything still in line, and you can go all the way down here if you happen to be looking at it on a phone. You know, I would eventually like to have all the web pages responsive, but that is where we're at right now. For future state, I'm going to have these to have, they're going to be interactive here to where people can comment and just, you know, give her the love that she deserves. Like, she's an incredible artist. I mean, look at this, the watcher here, the tiger, the detail. I think my favorite is probably Egg Boy. I think he's like super cute. I just love that little like egg on his face. Yeah, so you can come up here to the nav bar that I have set up. I created this using all CSS here, and I just was pretty proud of myself that I got this little like hover like effect here. Also, I'm gonna back up just a little bit. So like from here, clicking on this button takes you straight into the gallery, but you can also access it from, you know, this menu bar here if you wanted to. And then going to the About Me page. This is Jenny. This is the artist in question. Super cute, 24-year-old Mexican Guatemalan artist living in Atlanta, Georgia. I actually met her while I was in the military. That's how we became really good friends. And she's just a great person, and I wanted to be able to help her out. And so I linked her like social medias down here. I'll go ahead and I'll show you one just to show you that they are working. Here's her Instagram, and where she's, you know, showcasing more of her art. This was actually a commission that she just made for somebody a couple days ago. Yeah, and there's that. Okay, moving on to the commissions tab. You know, this is just a basic page showing here, you know, what she will create and won't create in SFW, not safe for work, you know. And then I just use like just two basic like unordered lists. I just styled them to take away the bullet points there. So it just looks like, I mean, there's just no bullet points. But I have this form here to where currently it's connected to my email address, but eventually, you know, it will be put in her name because this is for her. But you can just come in here and add your information. And I've got a tab here to where you can tell her what day you need it by. I mean, it's obviously up to her, you know, discretion and her decision, but yeah, so I've already told her that I needed a cute little pig. So I'll tell her again. And this form here is connected to FormSpree. It takes you straight there. And then but eventually she will get the email and it'll go from there. So yeah, it's just this basic page here. And then moving on to the shop, which is my personal favorite. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this. So these are some stickers that she has created on her own to kind of like supplement income loss, you know, currently due to not having a job. So she just has these like, let me sleep, a work in progress, and this cute little like Atlas moth here. And I added this cart in to where you can, you know, you can add it to your cart. All of these buttons, the functionality is used, done with JavaScript. Yeah, so you can add those. If you want to add more than one, you can do this over here. If you decided that you didn't want it anymore, you can remove it. If you wind up hitting, like if you so if I was to hit this again, since I already have it in my cart here, I get a notification from the site saying, hey, it's already there. So you could just go down and add another one if you wanted. And then once you finished, oh, also I have it to where, depending on how many stickers that you actually want, the total like automatically like goes up over here and goes back down. So once you decided how many stickers you wanted, you can come right down here to the integrated PayPal that I have here. So it takes you straight over to the PayPal site, $15, you can go ahead. And then obviously like sign in and give her all your money. Yeah, so let me back out of here. I don't know if you've noticed like this little like button down here in the right-hand corner, but hold on, let me move you guys so I can see it better. I added this because I'm obviously like a brand new web developer. This is my first project here. And with the agile methodologies and stuff that we've learned, like this project was done majority like by me, basically. I mean, I had a little bit of help from classmates and my TA and stuff like that. But so I didn't really have like the team member like to kind of like fall back on and ask questions. So I added this button here, which is also connected by FormsFree, but will go directly to my email address. But basically anybody that comes onto the site, they can go on here. It's just a suggestion box. Like, I just want to know how I can make the site better for her. Like, so any, like, I mean, I don't know what I don't know. So, I mean, there might be something that I never thought of that someone's like, hey, you know, you could add something here, and then it goes to my email address so I can fix that for her. And I think my favorite part of this website is not only the fact that I'm like making this for a good friend of mine, it's just like, I have the ability to change it anytime that I want, which I think is really incredible. I just wanted to represent Jenny in the best way possible. And this boot camp has really, you know, helps me make this possible. Give me 1 second, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so, you know, with that, I just wanted to like thank Savvy Coders, like Lori, Des, Elaine. They're all like super sweet and has helped me like give me tools and almost an unlimited amount of resources. Also, it's just super inspiring to see, you know, women in IT. I enjoy seeing that. My instructor, Cameron, she's like the sweetest person ever. Johan, my TA, he was always there if I needed help. He also shed tears with me along this journey here, and all of my classmates, you know, we all cried together and we made it through this demo day together. So it's just, it's been quite the journey. And now we're here. And yeah, that's my project.
Thanks, Paige. That was great.
Thank you.
Sorry to hear that there were tears, but.
Oh, it's okay. They were totally worth it, you know, like in the end, I'm excited for her to see it because I think she's going to love it.
That's great. Does anybody have any questions for Paige or her project?
I do, Paige. Hello.
Hi.
So did you just have like a blank slate and you just started designing what it was all going to look like? Or did you work off of like a WordPress, you know, guide or follow anything? Or did you just create it from scratch?
Yeah, I just kind of created it from scratch. Like I found like this one website that was like 25 greatest indie artists like web pages. And like I kind of was just like, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. And then just did it. Like it took a while, especially like trying to, I don't know why, but that PayPal button was so stubborn, like trying to like style it in that one corner. Yeah, but you know, I got it.
Great job.
Thank you.
That was the question I was going to ask, was about that PayPal button. Did that follow the actual dollar amount that you had in it? That it looked like it was 15 on the page and then went to 15. Does it track that dollar amount?
Currently, no. No, it doesn't. It just, so you would have to go in and put the actual like dollar amount. I just happen to have $15 worth in there. But that is a future state. Like I am working on getting the back end, like my server running. So to implement like a PayPal API, I have to have the SDK as well. And that was a lot of tears were shed over that. And I was just like, minimal viable products, I have to get this going. So the PayPal button is just embedded at the moment, but it is like full intentions to get it running.
Yeah, that was where I was going with that, is I didn't know if you could just change the calling URL on that to say like, amount equals 15. And if
no, I think that was like, maybe that's a little misleading and sneaky on my part, because I was just like, oh, 15.
No, it not sneaky, but yeah, but it was very beautiful. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Paige.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful website.
Thank you. I'm excited to show her. Thank you.
She'll love it.
Okay, moving on. How about John O'Loughlin?
Okay. Is the audio working?
Yes, you're good. You're good.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, hello, my name is John O'Loughlin, and I got my start in Savvy Coders because my father, Adam, he introduced me and my mom, Jennifer Bagwell, as Anthony mentioned, to Savvy Coders because he was also working in the CIC building, which was around where Savvy Coders also was. So he heard about it, introduced us to it. My mom immediately took to it. I was more so like, I'll see where this goes. I sort of had that mindset carried from previously because I was working in a fast food industry job at a Dairy Queen from the summer of 2018 when I graduated from the summer of 2018. And I had been working there ever since. And after about 2 years working there, so around to 2020, I felt very content. I felt I was just okay with what I was doing. I didn't really have any ambitions or goals, passions. I had hobbies and that was it. I just hung out with friends and I didn't really do anything else. But then once COVID hit, like hard in March, my parents had said, we're really worried about this. We have respiratory issues that could be flared up or made permanent from COVID. And I realized that I also have some vocal tics that would be made permanent or more severe because of COVID. And so then I did have to leave my job there. Initially, I was, sad I don't get to make money anymore unless I find something remote. But it was also, after I did that, I felt a sign of relief because I felt I'm done with that. I don't want to go back to that anymore. Whenever I look upon it now, I think it was all right. It worked. But now, as I went more and more into Savvy Coders, I realized that coding it's not really a one-off thing. This isn't something I'm going to be content with. This is something where I'm going to want to keep learning. I'm going to want to keep growing, keep making things, and keep building up this as a career. And I had realized that this was sort of my time to use coding. From my mom, when I was 6 years old, we were living in Hawaii. She was making a website for Second Life using HTML and CSS. And to my dad, Adam, being an expert coder in multiple languages and just being the god of our household with coding, I felt like at this point, it was my time to sort of, dig my hands in and try to learn what I can and do what I can. And so when presented with the task of making an SPA, a website, I sort of immediately flocked towards the idea of that everybody has an issue right now, which is COVID. And when talking about what we would want to make for our capstones, Lori was sort of adamant about saying that we definitely want to at least have something that would fix a problem. And so this is currently the #1 problem in our entire nation and world. And so I wanted to make a website that would be dedicated towards ensuring the public of the dangers of COVID and the safety necessary towards preventing that exposure. And so let me show you my website. Let me screen share. There we are. Okay, so we are at the website. This is coviddistance.icu. I chose the COM part because, intensive care unit. And so starting from the top, quite literally, this is the header. I brought this in just by an image, as you can see here in the header.js. I just loaded that up, class, to be able to size it and put it where I want it. And I custom made the header through using Paint 3D tools and Photoshop. And it was definitely an interesting experience, but absolutely worth it. I overall, with my capstone, wanted to have a sort of feeling of it's formal, but it's also informal. So that's why I went with more plainer text, easier presented, easy to follow, not confusing, and very, very intuitive. I also went with informal because I felt like we're talking about such a heavy issue. It's okay to feel some levity about it, to be able to, you know, have some humor almost. So with the background, I went more for almost a cartoonish thing, but still that represents what we're talking about. And so here's the front home, of course, with the description at the top that I just stated earlier. This website is dedicated. And then I go into the depths of what exactly is COVID-19 and what it can do to your body, what things it's been able to do, how it's been able to mutate, and I touch on some parts about ways to prevent and slow down transmission and how it spreads primarily through droplets of saliva. I sort of touch on those because later on, as we go up, we have mask safety and spread, which is where I go more in depth towards those topics. Why we cannot take COVID-19 lightly, I felt was a necessary part of this website because during the early parts of the pandemic, I feel like a lot of people during the early parts, they saw that there's only 1, 2, 5 cases in all of, you know, the United States. So they thought, well, I even put it right here, other people may catch it, but I'm not other people. So they had a mentality of just, I know it's out there, but no way it's going to come to me. And now we are currently in a nation that has over 10 million confirmed cases right now and is well past 250,000 deaths. And we're leading in both of those across the whole globe. And so I didn't want this website to feel like I was shaming the American people or anything like that. I am very proud of this nation. I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish since, you know, I was born, currently 20. And so at the bottom, I did say this website hasn't been made to slander and demonize that American people, but to help them realize those mistakes, take that responsibility and move forward from it. I then go talking into what we can do to prevent the spread, from talking about how it's spread a bit more to how it can stay in contact with surfaces. Also talking about sort of segues into the other parts of the SPA. And then we get to the footer as well, which I have directly linked to my email, which if I do a new link and tab, you can see at the top, it has a mail to my direct email. We have towards my GitHub as well, fully working. We also have my sources, which of course was from the CDC. I want to make sure that the information I get is credible and information that I get is not really disputable. This is the facts. This isn't something where people take this information and go, well, this could be interpreted differently. This is the information that is presented. So as we go into mask safety, I have a YouTube video embedded into the site that I can show in VS right here. I have the text here that's going to be next to it along with the YouTube video, and I put them in div folders, which I then edited in CSS. Being able to put them in div folders really allowed me to put them next to each other, do those display commands and the flex commands and align them correctly. It was a huge help, and I have to, of course, contribute that to Johan. He set me up with all of that, really. I was originally using tables, but then I realized that there was formatting errors whenever I tried to use tables. So I then switched to divs, and I was able to get this all up and running. Then I go on to explain after the why, when, and where on how to properly use a face mask in the YouTube video and touching more in depth with it here. I then show what the mask should be, how it should cover your face, and how it should fit onto your face. And then, of course, having special situations to be very inclusive. Inclusivity was an important part of my capstone That's why the text, again, is plain, a bit larger than you would expect. So that way people, even with sight problems, could easily interpret this information and be able to remember it well. That's why I feel like the pictures are also very helpful, and YouTube videos are as well. And then, of course, talking about inclusivity, also making sure that another special situation of children is addressed as well, making sure that it's made for children. If it's not, making sure it fits onto the face, and making sure that even children that under 2 years old cannot put on a mask due to it preventing some of their breathing because they're too young to be able to do that. I then go on to talk about spread with a graph that I actually got from the World Health Organization of the United Kingdom confirmed cases. And here I talk very in depth in the infection rate compared to the seasonal influenza or flu. I talk about how these symptoms show up, how people can be asymptomatic, how asymptomatic can be very dangerous compared to the regular 7 days that you would have to wait for that incubation period to begin showing symptoms. Because if you don't know that you have it and you're still spreading it, it's way more dangerous, because then you don't even know you need to quarantine. And then I go down into social distancing done right, where I feel like I've sort of piled on more information onto the people viewing this website. So I feel like at this point it's necessary, and also sort of a kindness to take that burden off by saying that, yes, you do have to worry about these things, but if you can, the easiest and most effective way to keep yourself safe is just don't see other people. Don't do interaction, and you will protect yourself. You will protect the people around you. You will protect people that you didn't even think that you would be protecting, because you have decreased your risk of getting COVID. And then I was planning on having this website, and still am, of course, having a logging feature, sort of like a blog. That's why it does say blog on the right. And where you would put in your name, and then you would put in information of a tip or a trick that you had during this pandemic. For example, there was a girl in Tennessee who she wanted to be able to hug her grandparents again and have them hug her. So she made a plastic screen film that they could put on their front door that would have sleeves where they could put their arms out and put their arms around their grandchild to be able to hug her. And I felt like no credible source, CDC, World Health Organization, is talking about those little tips, those little tricks, those little things that make this easier for all of us. And so my goal with this was to be able to have a place where people can compile those tips and tricks and put them in one area where everybody could access it. And I was trying to get that up and running. Unfortunately, it was not being very cooperative. I was trying to use Netlify because it does have form options. If I can select it, there we go. Right here, we have form options, and I was following in Docs, but unfortunately it was not functioning. I also tried FormSpree. I, for some reason, was not able to get that working either, but this is definitely a future state thing that I want to work on. This is the paramount objective of this capstone that I want to complete. And more so talking about Netlify, the site overview allows me to see production deploys. It allows me to, again, it says collect form submissions. So this would sort of be the hub of the website whenever I'm able to get those forms up and running. And what I love about this website too, Netlify, is that when you publish and deploy your website, you can actually see in the logs how it's doing it, what it's going to, what it's installing, what it's verifying, how it's running up, seeing if there's any errors, seeing how it builds, all of that. And then you can click preview and it's right there. And so that was my goal for this website, was to have a place where people could access this information regardless of who they are, regardless of what they believe in. Again, this website isn't there to slander anybody. It's just medical information, because right now, what we need to care about most is the people around us. We need to make sure that each other are safe. We need to make sure that ourselves are safe. and it's been such a almost burden for the people around me when they are constantly trying to quarantine, reduce exposure, try to stay inside. But we've been doing this for better part of a year. So people are starting to get tired, but as long as we remember that it's not something to play around with, I mean, because 250,000 deaths, it's not something that we can take lightly. So that's why my capstone, I made it the way I made it. I wanted an information to be presented easily, inclusivity, and for it to be easily absorbed and easily found. And that's my capstone. And thank you so much for this opportunity. And are there any questions?
That was great, John.
Thank you.
Sure, I'll throw in a question. Are you checking how this renders on mobile for
Yes,
like
I
a
have
width and all that, how it looks? And did you
Yeah,
have anything you had to do to tweak that?
Yes, I did. Again, Johan, that great man, he's the one who helped me with that. The reason why he presented those div containers to me was because he did talk about the mobile formatting. For example, let me go to home. I'm here right now. I can hit inspect, and he showed me a little trick where you can hit device toolbar, and you can see that when it's active and I hit, let's say, I believe the threshold was 768. It still puts it to the side, but then once we dip below that, still to the side, still there, and then here. Allow me to...
Hey, John, you're not sharing your screen anymore.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, 1 second. Thank you for telling me that. There we are. Okay, sorry. So this is the area I was able to inspect and enable that toolbar. So once I click, you can see that it's above a 768 standard threshold, which would be for a tablet. But once we go below, it compiles them on top of each other. So that way it's easier for mobile people to read still and to be able to still view videos and view the photos. So yes, I did keep that in mind, and that was definitely something that I had in mind, especially whenever you look at the style CSS. I have multiple media queries. Let me see if I can find them. One here for flex direction on column, for max width for the for whenever the resolution goes down. Here for whenever I can need to hide that nav bar on mobile. I have all of that displayed right here. And I've made sure that all of the elements that are on my website, all of them have a CSS tag. So I can move around anything I need. I can style anything I want in case I need to remove, remake, or make something more fluid. I have that access immediately.
Nice. Yeah, and agonizing over CSS details, you're definitely getting into the heart of what coding's all about now.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's all right. I was just asking if there's any more questions.
I don't have any questions, but that was an awesome website and very informational. So that's a lot of work you put into it.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Unfortunately, that's not how the original website was supposed to look. Last week, I believe, actually, yeah, 6 days ago, when I was trying to merge the, I was doing most of my capstone work actually in a practice folder in case I messed up. But then I realized, well, this is good enough to move to my capstone folder. But I forgot that I already had capstone like files in there, like JS files and regular files in there. So when I merged it, it just destroyed all of it. So I had to work from scratch about a week ago.
Well, you did a great job. You did a great job. And thank you for sharing. Okay. All right, Brooklyn, you are up.
Hey guys. My name is Brooklyn, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist of 5 years and have been working in the beauty industry for the past 8 years, managing my mom's cosmetic and wig business. I was introduced to the tech industry through a couple of friends who are currently working in the field for Walmart and Peloton. When I heard about the Savvy Coders 12-week program right here in my own backyard, I decided to jump right in, along with a friend here in class, Cody, and my boyfriend, Ryan. I've always considered myself to be an artist and find the most joy when I can work creatively. In my current field of work, I take pride in visually merchandising our selection of products, along with creating digital advertisements to generate sales. For my capstone project, it only made sense to use my new tools to help build a website for my family's Merle Norman and wig store. We currently do not have a website, and given the opportunity that I got to not only be the developer, but also the client, meant that I had total creative control. My website will allow new and existing customers to be able to learn more information about our brand and what we have to offer. They will be able to order products for curbside or mail order, as this has become the new norm. Following suit with most modern web pages these days, I have embedded links to connect users to our social media platforms to inspire and educate them on our products. I've also chosen to include a few resources and information to direct clients to the American Cancer Society, as well as information regarding insurance coverage for the medical hair loss patients that we see. This is something the store gets many calls on daily, so I felt it was necessary to have a resource where clients could be directed. Given the current state of climate with COVID, it is important now more than ever we adapt our retail business to continue to try and find new ways to meet and serve the needs of our customers. So let me begin screen sharing. We'll just share my desktop and move you guys over. So I thought real quickly, I'd show you some of my wireframes. The question was asked to another student, did we just start with blank pages and create all of this content from scratch? And I can assure all of you that that is exactly what we did. So when I got started, I actually hand drew out some wireframes. And this really helped just basically getting started. I was very overwhelmed, had no idea, what direction the page should go in. So yeah, I drew up all of these and I was pretty impressed. My goal, it did stay pretty similar to what these original drawings were. So I think you guys will see that here. Let me get out of there. So today during demonstration, I am going to be hosting the site on my local server. So I'm using Node and Express to do that. So this is kind of running in the background. I did want to make everyone aware that my site is hosted actually on Netlify. So if you wanted to follow along with me, you can visit merlenorman.com or .netlify.app. And so by going to this website here, you can view my website from your local computers. I am choosing to host it on my server, my local device. As you'll see, there's some content that's not generated. And so I'll explain that when I get to my site here. Oops. All right, so this is my homepage. When you click on the Merle Norman icon up here at the top, the logo, it'll take you direct to the home. Across the top here, I've got a navigation bar that I've built, and these links are interactive for the user. So by hovering over, they change colors, and they're all clickable. This page is a single page application, which means it's very interactive for the user. So each one of these links actually has its own separate JavaScript file to generate this content through Netlify. Here at the top, I have chosen to build what I call a photo carousel. We have such great content from home office. So I wanted to be able to showcase that right here at the top. And I've chosen the style amongst a few of the other pages. You'll kind of see this reoccurring. So I just thought that helped to give a little bit more of a cohesive look, and just kind of show clients what we have to offer. In future state, as of right now, you do have to click on these little buttons to get the photo wheel to turn. But I am researching an animation feature, so I can kind of add that into the code, and every 2 or 3 seconds, these images will populate and slide to the next screen. Down here at the bottom, this was one of the things, if you are viewing this from your own device, you'll find that you will not get the map in this area. So through trial and error, I'm using, this is an API call. So my local server is actually speaking to Google to be able to generate this map on my page. As you'll see here across the screen, it does say for development purposes only. So this actually has to be paid for if I want to use this on my completed site. I am in the process of researching some other maps to maybe avoid having to pay for this as part of the website. But for now, I did want to have a map on there. So that's a question we constantly get asked, is where are we located? So here you can see other businesses in location to where we are. The user can zoom in, zoom out. Something for future state I thought might be neat was to be able to use the user's place of location. So that would have to be done through JavaScript. And then that way they'd be able to determine how far away they were from my location, from the store. So something I am also in the process of working on. So if you are viewing this from your device, I'd like to have this website mobile ready. So right now, when you shrink the screen, some of the content kind of gets distorted. I can't even begin to explain the frustration and just the learning curve working with CSS and doing some of these features. So I'm impressed. In 12 weeks, I've made it this far. So I'm excited to be working on the mobile features down the line. So that's it for the homepage. Oh, except for the footer, and you Zoom guys are down here at the bottom blocking it for me. So here's the footer. This is going to be found on every page. It's got our studio address, email, phone number, along with those links I had mentioned, which navigate to our social media platforms. Something I'd like to add in the future would be like a blog section. But for now, I thought this was great just to, we blog on Facebook. Most people are on Facebook and Instagram. That's the first thing they do when they wake up in the morning. So this here, having this connected to the website, they'll be able to get the content. And same goes for the Instagram. All of these links are working. Something I did choose to do, and this was part of writing the code, rather than click the link and have the client or user directed away from my web page, you'll see that it actually opens up a new window or new tab. So we definitely want to keep our users on our site. So all of these will generate a new window for them. So that is it for the home page. I'm gonna go on to the About Us page. Here I've got a shot of my mom and I in the store, just kind of an about us. I think now more than ever, keeping small businesses alive and retail stores alive. So that's definitely a big part of working with our clients is, they come in for us. So, we want to definitely showcase what we're all about. So I thought this was a nice little page to do that. Moving on to a service menu. My mom and I do work together full time. So I run the store in the front, and she's actually licensed cosmetologist and has been for like 25 years. So she does hair full time in the back. So I wanted to be able to showcase the services that she provides. Again, we'll kind of talk more about some future state. I'd like for these to actually be links. So maybe if a husband wanted to purchase his wife a gift card, he could go directly to my site and be able to add these items into his cart. So that's something that we'll get to. So makeup and skincare. Again, you'll find a nice little photo reel just showcasing some more of our products. We've got some more great content on the services that we provide. So both the makeup and the skincare. We do offer express facials in store. It's a big part of our business. We hope with we're not doing any services right now, but when things go back to normal, if they ever will, these will be things maybe I'd like to have clients be able to schedule services, schedule a foundation consultation on this page, schedule an express facial. So yeah. Moving on to the wigs link, another great little bar across the top, showcasing our wigs and toppers. Something we get phone calls all the time in regards to the wigs and hair pieces. So we've really had a need to be able to direct clients somewhere, or perhaps if they were able to, when they Googled us, if our page would come up, they could read and get more information before calling. I have spent lots of time on the phone with women, just unsure of what to expect, unsure of how to prepare before their appointment, before they come in. So this has a lot of good information for them in regards to what to expect and price, the difference between synthetic and human hair, putting on wigs, caring for their wig after purchase. That's also something we get calls about. Though they get the spiel and all the education when they're in the store, they're overwhelmed with the experience and process. So just to be able to maybe have some YouTube videos on this page to direct them back, and if they're going to wash their wig for their first time, here's a great YouTube. They can follow step by step to do that. Down here at the bottom, I have integrated some links, some external links, just to give them some more tips and some more tricks. All of these are clickable. Again, they redirect the client to a new window or new page. So yeah, I have those. And then we'll scroll back up to the top here. I have added an order form. The big thing for the site is being able to allow clients to purchase online. Creating this order form was more or less a challenge for me, or a test in my CSS skills. So all of the features here do work. Clients can type in their information. This was also something that has to be coded in. But if they, for instance, were to try to type an email and not actually give a legit email with an @ symbol, it prompts them that the field is not filled out correctly. So they would actually need to fix that and correct that. So you can see, then we can go on and keep working. So yeah, this form, I was thinking about hosting it or connecting it with FormSpree, but I'm just not, I realize, people putting their credit card information, this is not secure. So I would like to be able to implement, just a more secure server so that clients can safely put their information in and not worry about them being compromised. So that is my order form. I have connected, we have a little contact us page. So here the client can put their information. And you can see I've tested this out myself a few times. And this is connected to FormSpree. So when you submit this form, you get a pop-up that says, it's successfully been submitted. I've got my email opened up here just to show you guys that I get notified here from FormSpree that I have a user trying to send a message. So this will, right now it's connected to my personal email, but I'd like to connect this to the business email, and that way we'll be able to track clients. We use some other online databases, like I use Constant Contact to generate emails to clients. So that's something I'm researching. As when we collect the user's email, I'd like to have that linked into the Constant Contact, so they'll be automatically, they'll be subscribed for our mailing list. So we'll go back to my page. That pretty much sums it up. I spent a lot of time working, again, having the art background, I found so much joy just getting and creating things, to look how I wanted them to on the page. So little things, prior to doing this coding class, things you take for granted, like you hover over this contact button and the color changes. When you press the button, you actually get this like interactive, like pressing, where it looks like you're really tapping it with your finger. So all of these things, you don't think of that, they're just there, they're on the page, but they all have to be hard coded into the CSS. So yeah, I thought that was something neat and cool in this process. I think that sums it up. I might have mentioned this already in future, I'd like to have a blog tab, just to have more content, for the users, and be able to upload videos from the store when we have new promotions and things. I just want clients to be able to follow along. Something else that I'd like to do with the site down the line is, I network with a lot of other small business Merle Norman owners. Our company is 90 years old, and some of these ladies have been selling this makeup for 50 years. So with tech and as quickly as it's growing, it's something they struggle with. So if again, working in retail, working for my mom, it is a fear of mine that we will be closed again. And I hope with my new skills that maybe I'll be able to build websites for these Merle Norman owners on the side. So do you guys have any questions for me?
Great job, Brooklyn.
Yeah, let me stop sharing. Thank you.
Well, excellent. And I'm going to date myself here, but Merle Norman was the very first. They did my prom makeup.
Yes,
So
I love that.
Gonna date me, but that was one of the growing up. That was one of the big stores. So this is nice to see you guys are still around and still doing stuff, and that website's amazing.
Thank you so much. I love that. My family, Merle Norman's generational for us. So my great grandma wore a Merle Norman, my mom wore it, everybody. So when I was 12 years old, and this was, early 2000s, I couldn't wait. Like, go in, I got blue eyeliner. Now these young girls that, they don't go through the trial and error that we did. So
no, not even close.
Yes.
Ruth.
Brooklyn, it looks so good. You can definitely tell you have an artistic background. It was really user friendly. The UX UI looks really great.
Thank you so much. Mobile is on the way.
What led you toward Form Spree for that email? Like, how did you discover that?
It was actually talked about in class, so that's kind of how I landed on Form Spree. I have wanted to. We touched a little bit on using like a database with MongoDB and Heroku. So I know moving forward, I'd probably like to go that route. But Form Spree, it was quick, it was easy, so it did the job, and yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it was neat to see some interactivity and messaging, and I didn't realize that all of these, or some of these even, were publicly accessible. So being able to follow along was fun too. So awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I can share the link again. You have to make your screen like as big as it'll go, because if you shrink it down, then everything gets distorted. But we're working on that.
Okay, great job, Brooklyn. All right, Cody, last but not least, you are up.
Hey everyone. So my name is Cody Nix. I come from a background in audio production. Specifically, I've been editing audiobooks for the last 8 years or so. For those that are unsure what an audiobook editor does, I basically take spit sounds out of people reading books. So I remove all the clicks and pops and gross sounds that your mouth makes that you don't know that it makes, but when a microphone is this close, you hear all of that. I also work at a coffee shop in here on Cherokee Street in St. Louis called the Mud House. With everything so up in the air due to COVID, I figured now would be a perfect time to future-proof myself and finally learn coding. I'd heard about Savvy Coders before from a friend. I began looking more seriously into the program once I decided it was time for a career change. I also mentioned Savvy to some friends of mine, one of them you just heard from. So now 4 of us are enrolled and looking to become web developers. Being enrolled with my friends has definitely helped with the whole process and like overcoming obstacles. We're able to solve problems together and bounce ideas off of each other. And that brings us to my capstone project that I've been working on, which is a website for beginning whittlers. Called itsthewhittlethings.com. So a couple years ago, I had a desire to try woodworking again. I'd done a lot when I was younger, but with no power tools accessible or money for those tools or even space, if I had the money for those tools, I landed on whittling. Whittling provided a low-cost solution that allowed me to work with wood, but without all the expensive tools or the space necessary for those big woodworking projects. My web application will act as a go-to source for those looking to begin whittling, and also allow users to follow my own journey as I attempt more projects along the way. I've created this web app with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. With JavaScript mainly being used to convert my multi-page layout into a single page application. So without further ado, it's thewhittlethings.com. Let's see, can everyone see my my browser here? All right.
Yes.
So right off the bat, you'll see I've got my nav bar up at the top here. First thing right in the corner there, there's my logo for It's the Whittle Things. You see what we're about cutting stuff. Then if we go over to my nav bar here, as you hover over the links, you get a little feedback from the bar itself. It'll turn colors depending on which one you have currently highlighted. And then that brings us to this big image here. I wanted, as soon as you open the page, that you would see, okay, we're dealing with wood here. There's a lot of wood chips going on. And from experience, whittling is very messy and you will find yourself covered in all of these wood chips. So I just wanted to really get that into your mind frame first. As we scroll down here, just a little welcome box, let you know what we're about here at itsthewhittlethings.com. And also just a better image of the logo there. Now I have set up here a blog. Currently it is all HTML. I do have a database and a server set up and I'm still working on the back end from pulling the info from the server, but it'll look pretty much exactly like this. Newest posts coming first, older posts get pushed down. So this post that you're gonna see right here, these are some projects that I've worked on in the last few years here. So without even clicking on anything else, you're just able to scroll down and get a look at, oh, you know, what is whittling? Okay. So first project here, this is a fantasy baseball trophy I made for my fantasy baseball league. And this, everything you're gonna see on here, this was all just one piece of wood. So I had a square block of wood, and getting a circle or a round object out of a square block of wood definitely takes some time. All of these have had blood and sweat put into them. As we keep going down here, you see by the caption here, this is the beginning of a spiral ornament. There's some of those wood chips that I talked about at the beginning. As we keep going, this is that exact same spiral ornament that I was working on but finished. You can actually see that it's hollow in the middle here. And this is all just HTML and CSS right here with my images and my captions. I have all my images hosted. These are all images that I took. I hosted them on GitHub and used that site for my link to show the image. Here you can see this was a Mother's Day gift I made last year. Same thing, was just a regular block of wood. I'm going for the tattoo mom look there, and this one was all done with just a Swiss Army knife, showing that it's pretty low cost here. As you keep going on, here you can see what I've labeled as a minor setback. I was working on a ball and cage project. And I did cut myself there. And I would say I've probably cut myself on every project I work on. That's whenever I take it as a sign to put it down for the night and maybe pick it up the next day. So that was my first, or the first blog post you see there. And then right below that, there's the very first blog post that I put on here. Again, just kind of welcoming you to the website, giving you a layout of everything. And then at the bottom here, you'll see my footer, which shows that it was made in 2020. I've got a link here to my LinkedIn, which if you open it up or click that, it opens in another tab there. So if we close that, takes us right back to where we were. I've labeled this a Nixscape production as my last name is Nix. And my family has a long history of using our last name to create business puns. So if we go back to the top here, let's take a look over at getting started. So this is where I'm going to cover all your whittling basics. The tools you need. You essentially only need two things: a knife and a block of wood. As we scroll down here, here's just an example of a few of the knives that I've used, showing the Swiss Army knife and then the carving knives that I've upgraded to. I also have a link here to those better knives. If you click, as you can see, I actually do own this knife and purchased it back in February. And if we close that, takes us right back to where we were. Go ahead and keep scrolling down here. And this is pretty much what most of my projects look like at the start. It's just a square block of wood. For whittling, technically you can use any wood. Highly recommend a soft wood so you don't just damage your fingers. I personally use a lot of basswood. Pine is also good. Balsa wood or cedar would also be great. And here's another link here. If you click, it takes you over to Amazon where you can buy pre-cut basswood, which is typically what I use. If we head back over here. So now we're going to get into your basic techniques of whittling. Basically, all you need is 4 techniques. First off, we're going to talk about the push cut. Push cut, as you can see here, I've embedded a GIF. Now you may be wondering, Cody, I can see both of your hands in this image. How did you take this picture? Well, I'll let you ponder that as we keep going. We can see here, the next cut here is a pairing cut. This one I have not quite turned into a GIF yet. That'll be some future state. I'm going to turn all of these into GIFs so you can actually see how it works. Pairing cut involves cutting towards yourself instead of the push cut, which as you can see is away. Next up is your stop cut. A stop cut is just cutting directly into the wood so that when you perform a push or a pairing cut, it stops when it hits that cut. And last but not least is the V-shaped cut, which is, as it sounds, cutting twice into the wood in a V shape so that when they meet, you have a chunk in a V shape that you can remove. And at the very end here on the basics, the getting started page, I talk a little bit about sharpening. Sharpening, as it says here, keeping your blade sharp is key. You don't want to work with a dull knife. That's when you're going to get yourself hurt. That's when you're going to get in trouble. And this right here, what I have pictured is a strop. You use that compound on it and then run your knife back and forth to sharpen it. I will do this probably halfway through a project. I will do it at the end of every project. Just always make sure you have a sharp knife. And if we go back to the top here, now we can take a look at the projects page. And this is where I plan on actually showing you how to do projects on your own. Right now, I do have the steps in place for the 3-link chain project. Again, this was just one solid block of wood, and you whittle it in a way so that they all stay together. Currently, I just have the picture and the steps listed out. For future state, I would like to turn this into a slideshow so you have pictures of each individual step. There's not quite that ambiguity there. And you just able to click through and see each step and what each step looks like. And if we scroll down a little more, there you can see this is another project I've done, the ball and cage. I haven't filled out the info on that yet, but if you stay tuned to itsthewhittlethings.com, then you will see. And lastly, I have the additional resources page, and this is just a lot of resources that I've used along the way. If you click here, you will see work that is a lot better than mine. This is someone that I really look up to their whittling skills. As you can see, they're really great at whittling Pokemon. So this just kind of shows you that you can go from just a little 3-link chain to, you know, actually like beautiful things like this. Let's see. And then we've got some books here, which is some other resources that I've used. This one in particular, the Complete Starter Guide to Whittling. That's basically my whittling Bible, if you will. And let's see here. I would like to take a look here. If we look at my my wireframes, yes, I did just do pen and paper for my wireframes. You can see you know, the basic outline, but how things have changed whenever I actually started implementing it. Just to go back for comparison, you know, I wound up moving my nav bar so it is all at the top here. And just learning different things, CSS elements for styling and how to make it look better than the initial idea I had. But when it comes to the getting started page, this is pretty much how it looks now. And the same with the projects page and my additional resources here. Oh, and I do want to point out, I did style a little CSS. I've got a little knife here. So when you're looking at all, you know, if you're like me and you operate with 20 tabs open at all times, you can just see the little knife there and know, hey, that's itsthewhittlethings.com. And boom, you're there. And yeah, that's my website. I'd like to open it up for any questions if you have about whittling or my website or audiobooks. Feel free to ask.
Great job.
My first question is, how many fingers do you have left?
I still got them all, thankfully, for now. Let's knock on wood.
That's a great website. You did awesome. That's very detailed. And the work's awesome, so you're doing a great job whittling.
Oh, thank you. I will say it's not quite ready. It's not quite mobile ready unless you turn your phone sideways. But mobile is definitely a work in progress.
I love that knife icon. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to do that.
Thank you.
Cody, what's been your favorite part so far of designing?
Ooh, honestly, I would say running a live server and having your browser open, you know, kind of over to the left, and as you're coding, saving and immediately seeing it right there in your browser. That's definitely been very satisfying. Especially when you do that and for some reason things aren't changing and there's some sort of you know, bug or an issue somewhere, and then finding that out where that issue is and making everything run smoothly again.
Great, good job.
Thank you.
what was the most challenging part of this site for you to implement?
Probably something that I didn't implement, which would be a carousel slideshow of images. So like for that projects page where I have just the steps, I definitely would like to finish implementing that as a slideshow. Had a little issue with that and not quite enough time to get that figured out. But that's definitely something that I'll have in the next couple weeks here.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, well, that concludes the presentations for the soon-to-be graduates of the August cohort. You all should have resumes for actually the entire cohort, but specifically these folks that have just presented. So if you have any questions for them, feel free to reach out. Their contact information is on their resumes, but as always, you could reach out to me too. And I can give you more information or know how to direct you. I want to thank everybody for spending time with the soon to be graduated students. We really, really, really appreciate it. And if you have any input on, how we did our demo day, I would love to hear it. So, all right. Thank you all and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Guys.
Great job.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Great job. It looked awesome and you rocked it.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, everyone.
Hey, Lori, are you going to be sending out YouTube links like you guys did last time?
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. I want to share, because I want to share all this with the team. So I want to share not only your resumes, but the recruiters to see you guys in action. So they really like that.
Have them configured and up in the next 2 days.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
This week's kind of a blog week for all of us, and we have 2 new trainees next week. So yeah. But they love seeing. That was one of the things last time you guys sent. They loved seeing the YouTube and being able to actually feel like they were able to watch you guys tonight, but have the YouTube. So it'll be great for them to see it. But you guys did great. So congratulations, everybody. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you, too. Thank you, Justin.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, Justin. You guys did amazing. Did you feel okay? Did you feel like you were amazing?
My heart was, whoo.
I'm so sorry. It's hard to be last.
My hands are like so clammy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to scream.
Mine are too, watching you guys, just because I want you to be so good. And you guys were great.
All
I mean,
I did feel for Paige. That was rough.
Yeah, the guy's mic being on.
Oh, I know. And I couldn't mute him because I'm not the host.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, and I didn't want to be like, hey, can you mute your mic? And so I was just trying to.
I got your back.
Yo,
I
man.
got your back.
Yeah. We were still very much able though to get across, to understand what you were putting out.
Okay.
It's a beautiful website.
So do they give you additional feedback on us?
Sometimes.
Okay.
It's a crapshoot. Carrie's from Accenture. She's been very involved with several students. So it seems like whoever she talks to, she always has a question. She wants to know how you think. She takes thoughts back to her team, I think, and says, what about this person? What about this person? And now that we have this recorded, I guess I could probably stop recording. Now that we have this recorded,